Greetings.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome once again to the annual Christmas story time with Nana and Papa. She's Nana, I'm Papa, in case you hadn't figured that out. This is Michelle, I'm Bob, and we're so glad that you're here with us tonight. Tonight we have a live studio audience, including someone special over here, one of my grandsons. We started doing this a long time ago. About 6 years ago. And there was a time we were down out of the state. We were down in South Carolina, and it was COVID, and we were lonely, and we were sad, and we said, you know what? Let's just try and find some happy. And so we decided to read some Christmas stories one night online, and this would be the first time, I think the first time that we actually have one of our grandsons here.
Yes, the first time.
Yep.
Yep.
So we have one of our grandsons here tonight who, this was unexpected, and we're very thankful for it. So we're going to just basically read Christmas stories. So say hello wherever you're watching from. Let us know where that is. Feel free to share this. There's that little arrow button that goes that way. You can go ahead and press that, and you can share it to your page. This is going to be on a number of pages. This is running through Ana Mesa and First Congregational Church of Wayne, and a couple of personal pages. So if you want to just spread it, it's just Christmas cheer. That's all it is. So grab a cup. We have cocoa and some tea, and we've got Muddy Buddies or Puppy Chow, and we got Chex Mix, and we got some cookies. I mean, we're just stacked here with all kinds of good stuff. We're going to read some Christmas stories. We're going to have a little bit of fun. If you've got a comment or two or a favorite Christmas story, feel free to share that with us and interact with us if you would like. We've got people behind the camera who can let us know if there's a comment or two. So let's kick things off tonight. I'll begin with a classic. And the question really is there a Santa Claus? Well, in 1896, Dr. Philip F. O'Hanlon, a New York City police surgeon and a deputy coroner, which is a nice combination, he moved with his wife Laura and their little daughter Virginia into a 4-story house at 115 West 95th Street in New York. Now, the following year, dismayed by the remarks of her friends at school that there was no Santa Claus, Virginia went and asked her father if what they were saying was true. Well, Dr. O'Hanlon suggested that she write a letter to the New York Sun assuring her that if you see it in the sun, it's so. Now, her letter, I don't know if you can see it, but that's an actual copy of her letter that she sent to the Sun, the newspaper there, in 1897. And here's what it said. Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Virginia O'Hanlon, 115 West 95th Street. So on September 20th of 1897, Francis Church, who was a graduate of Columbia College and a well-respected veteran writer for the New York Sun newspaper, he was handed Virginia's letter, and he was asked to write a response in the next day's edition. So here is the editorial in its entirety. Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe except what they see. They think that nothing which cannot be comprehensible by their little minds. All minds, Virginia, whether they be men's or children's, are little. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, an ant, in his intellect, as compared with the boundless world about him, as measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist, and you know that they abound and give to your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would the world be if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Not believe in Santa Claus? You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus. But even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus. But that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not. But that's no proof that they are not there. Nobody can conceive or imagine all the wonders that are unseen and unseeable in the world. You may tear apart the baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, but there is a veil covering the unseen world, which not the strongest man, nor even the united strength of all the strongest men that ever lived, could tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love, romance can push aside that curtain and view and picture the supernal beauty and glory beyond. Is it all real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world there is nothing else real and abiding. No Santa Claus? Thank God he lives, and he lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood. Francis Pharcellus Church, editor. Yes, there is a Santa Claus. And that's what he said. So, story number 1. Is it your turn?
Speaking of Santa Claus, just so you know, all of my stories were handpicked by my grandson. So they are very important, so pay attention. This one he picked because we really love this one, and I believe I've read it before. Santa's underwear. It was Christmas Eve, and time to get ready. Santa shined his belt buckle and polished his best black boots. He ate a healthy dinner to give him energy for the busy night ahead. As Santa munched on his whole wheat bread, visions of delicious sweets danced in his head. Tonight, children would leave tasty treats by their Christmas trees just for him. He brushed his teeth, then he scrub-a-dub-dubbed in the tub. After blow-drying his hair, Santa combed his silky beard until it shined like the new fallen snow. So now we know why it shines like the new fallen snow.
Very important.
I like this elf here who's getting their hair done with gel. Just a little gel.
Nice.
Not very much. Wrapped in his favorite robe, he admired how jolly he looked in the mirror. The hour had come to put on his special Christmas clothes. Santa pulled open the underwear drawer in his dresser. He poked around. Where were his long red woolly undies? Even though they were old, faded, and saggy, he always wore them under his suit on this special night. They kept him warm as his sleigh soared across the starry winter skies. Well, they're gone. They're nowhere to be found.
Oh, no.
Santa looked through the rest of the drawers, checked the dirty clothes hamper, and peeked under the bed. But all he found there was one white sock, a dusty rubber reindeer toy, and 2 sticky candy canes. No red undies. Santa sighed. I guess this year I'll just have to wear something else. He tried on the pink boxers and t-shirt Mrs. Claus had given him last Valentine's Day. Too many hearts and cutie cupids, he said. Then he buttoned up his green long johns he wore every St. Patrick's Day. These shamrocks aren't Christmassy at all, but they're green. I mean, come on. His Easter briefs, covered in pictures of dancing jelly beans, made Santa ask, "What was I thinking?" The tighty-whities and undershirt he'd bought for Thanksgiving were now a little too tighty and uncomfortable. Well, he did eat a lot of pumpkin pie that day. His boring, regular underwear just wasn't right for tonight. What was he going to do? Wear no underwear at all on Christmas Eve? That would certainly make him shiver and quiver out in the cold. Look, the elves are going, "No, no, no!"
So embarrassing.
Santa threw up his hands in despair. The clock was tick-tocking. Children all over the world were expecting their presents. There was no time to waste. He would just have to wear those silly shamrock long johns. At least they were green and warm. Santa sighed as he opened the closet door to get his Santa suit. Uh-oh. I think this elf is up to something. He's got a cheesy grin. And then, on a hanger, right in front of him, tied with a bow, were brand new Christmas undies.
Yay!
They were just like his old ones, but not saggy. Their color was almost as bright as Rudolph's nose. See, they're right there. There are the old ones. A card tied to the front read, "Dear Santa, use this woolly gift tonight. Last Christmas, we couldn't help but notice that really you needed some new undies. Warm wishes, Rudolph and the reindeer crew." Ho, ho, ho. He got a Christmas gift from the reindeer. Decked out in his holiday red, Santa admired how twinkly his eyes looked in the mirror. He finished dressing, plopped on his hat, and raced out the door. The end. Oh, no, one more page. As Santa hopped into his sleigh and rose out of sight, you could hear him exclaim, "Thank you, Rudolph, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen. Thanks to Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. Now let's get this show on the road. We've got a job to do. Merry Christmas to you." Now it's the end. Why, thank you, sir.
You know, I didn't get excited like this when I was a kid and got socks and underwear for Christmas. So he seemed pretty excited about that. I wasn't.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I just wasn't.
Maybe you should have been.
Oh, I probably should have been more thankful. You know, I mean, there's nothing like a good pair of socks. So, anyway, we're going to move on here a little bit. I see some comments, and I see a couple of hearts and laughs there. So, yeah, keep those coming. And again, refill your beverage. We have got another story here. Now, I'm going to need some help with this one because I don't turn pages good like she does. So, I'm going to read it. She's going to show the pages here to a classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas by our good friend Dr. Seuss. And this would be the original. If you actually look at the book, he's not green. He's not green in the book. He's just, you know, black and white there. They kind of did that for the TV show. All right, so here we go. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown, as the warm-lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow's Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise. Noise, noise, noise. It's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast. And they'd feast. And they'd feast. Feast, feast, feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least at all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, sing, sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat. He made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. He took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney. A rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, well, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first thing to go. Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. He stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, the Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. They stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up that tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree. He started to shove. And then he heard a small sound, like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was no more than 2. They got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie. And he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there. Then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child. And he patted her head. He got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. And the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks. And what left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. He did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn. All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he grinchiously humming. They're finding out now there's no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, and the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, came without tags, came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. And the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Yahoo for a fly. I can't sing the song, but now I want to sing the song.
Anna Mesa said socks and underwear are an underappreciated standard gift.
They are underappreciated, but I still don't want them. All right. Well, I think it's your turn now.
We will follow that one up by How the Grinch Lost Christmas, a sequel to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Up high on Mount Crumpet, just north of the Who's, a Who just delivered the day's Whoville news. The cave on Mount Crumpet was home to the Grinch, who sprung from his cave just enough, plus 1 inch, to stare down at the Whoville from high up above it. Tomorrow was Christmas, and speaking thereof it, my heart, grinned the Grinch, has grown to quite love it. The Grinch had been patiently waiting all year to celebrate Christmas and bring the Who's cheer, and to show every Who he was different now. I've changed, thought the Grinch, and I'll prove it. But how? Well, eating his breakfast of Who hash on rye, the newspaper there in the chair caught his eye. A contest? In Whoville? Tomorrow at 3? To see who can make the most Christmassy tree? Then he got an idea. A crafty idea. The Grinch got an awfully crafty idea. He laughed in his throat. I know just what I'll do. Then the Grinch grabbed a pencil and drew. With a plan in his hand, the Grinch hiked to Whowood, where he found the most Christmassy tree that he could. And he chopped at the tree with his tree-chopping axe, till the tree he was chopping fell down next to Max. Then they hiked their way home with the tree on their backs. Our cellar has all of the things we will use to start decorating our tree from the Who's. Grab ribbons, he shouted. Grab bunches of bows. Grab plenty of these and big pile of those. Bring everything reddish and everything greenish, and every last colorful thing in betweenish. A win, he was Grinchiously humming. Then all of a sudden he heard someone coming. Now who could that be? The Grinch said with a sneer. He turned around fast, and then who should appear? Right there, in the hallway, stood Cindy Lou Who.
I knew it.
The sweetest of all the Who's that he knew. Hello, she exclaimed. I have something to ask. I do hope it isn't a bothersome task. Come here to ask a small favor, you see. And if you have time and could make one for me? The Grinch interrupted her tiny request. My dear, he replied, it would really be best to ask me tomorrow. Christmas, you see. Right now I must finish my prize-winning tree. Perhaps I can help you, sweet Cindy Lou said. But the Grinch simply patted the Who on her head. Then he shooed her aside and replied, Don't be silly. Do run along home now before it gets chilly. Throughout the whole day and late into the night, he worked on his tree till that tree was just right. I've done it, he shouted. It's perfectly grand. I hope that it shows every Who in the land what wonderful Christmassy spirit I've found. I know in my heart that I'm sure to be crowned. At 1:15 dawn, with the sun rising fast, the Who's were all awake. It was Christmas at last. The bells around Whoville were ringing and dinging. The Who's down in Whoville were merrily singing. The Grinch ran outside and cried, Christmas is here! At the sound of that ringing and sing-along cheer. And when the time came for the Grinch to depart, he loaded the sleigh and took off like a dart, sledding down to the Whoville town square. Contestants, the Grinch heard the mayor declare, it's time for the judges to judge all your trees. The rest of you Who's have a seat, if you please. Then the trees were lined up from the tallest to smallest. The Grinch's tall tree was the tallest of allest. And down at the end to the far right was Cindy Lou Who, who's with its much smaller height. See, there's the Grinch's and there's tiny little Cindy Lou's. When the mayor announced who had taken third place, the Grinch felt his Christmas-filled heart start to race. "And now," said the mayor, "without further ado, the luckiest contest who's placed number 2 lives high on Mount Crumpet. We're thrilled that he's here. The Grinch wins the second place trophy this year." The Grinch felt a shock as his heart turned ice cold. He felt it start shrinking, and so it is told that there in that square, all that who were near it are certain they saw it and sure they could hear it. Uh-oh. The moment the Grinch, oops, dropped my mic. Thank you.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. The moment the Grinch lost his Christmassy spirit, his arms started itching, his legs started twitching, then both of his eyes started twitching and itching, and that Christmas-filled heart, well, it shrank down. "I've been robbed," the Grinch snarled, "and I'm through with this town." The Grinch stuffed his tree in his ransackled sleigh, then he lugged it and tugged it and hauled it away, as Max tried his hardest to get him to say. The Who's were all speechless, unsure what to say. The Grinch climbed and climbed, and his heart grew more frozen. While back at the contest, a winner was chosen. "Today, on the merriest day in the land," the mayor declared, with his Who horn in his hand, "I give you our winner. She's not more than 3. It's Cindy Lou Who has made the best tree." The Who girl had asked every Who there that day to make her an ornament she could display, to celebrate Whoville and everyone in it. She'd entered the contest, not thinking she'd win it. The Grinch heard the mayor from high on the peak, then Cindy Lou Who grabbed the Who horn to speak. I wanted to make all of Whoville a tree, with ornaments each of you Who's made for me. But there is one ornament missing, you see. The whole town of Whoville was there, on each limb except for the Grinch. So she called out to him, "Now please, Mr. Grinch, I saved you a spot. You're someone who's like an awful lot. The tree is for Whoville. You're part of it, too. I hope you can hear me," said Cindy Lou Who. Cindy Lou Who's voice stopped the Grinch in his tracks. He looked down at Whoville, then looked down at Max. "I thought," the Grinch puzzled, "a prize-winning tree would prove to the Who's that today means what today means to me, and show them for certain I truly belong. But perhaps I was wrong, and belonged all along. And maybe, just maybe, we all win instead by being together on Christmas," he said. And there on Mount Crumpet, if you had been near it, you would have been able to see it and hear it. The moment his heart grew a few sizes more, the more than his heart had grown ever before. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch and his dog whizzed back down on that sleigh, and the Grinch placed his ornament on the small tree, Then he lifted it high so the whole town could see. The Who's all hurraed, and they jumped to their feet as the Grinch grinned and said, "Now our tree is complete." Then the mayor declared, "We have one thing to do, to make it official for Cindy Lou Who. Would you do the honor?" he pointed and said. And the Grinch himself placed the crown on her head.
The end. That's a good story. That's a good one. All right. Well, we got anybody watching? Yeah, and we got some comments. Good to see everybody there. All right. Well, I've got a poem, kind of a long one, a long poem story, and this is by Ogden Nash. And this is the boy who laughed at Santa Claus. Cautionary tale, don't laugh at Santa Claus. Trust me, bad stuff will happen. You just got to trust me here. In Baltimore, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's joy. Although his name was Jabez Dawes, his character was full of flaws. In school, he never led his classes. He hid old ladies' reading glasses. His mouth was open when he chewed, and elbows to the table glued. He stole the milk of hungry kittens and walked through doors marked "No Admittance." He said he acted thus because there wasn't any Santa Claus. Another trick that tickled Jabez was crying boo at little babies. He brushed his teeth, they said in town, sideways instead of up and down. Yet people pardoned every sin and viewed his antics with a grin, till they were told by Jabez Dawes there isn't any Santa Claus. Deploring how he did behave, his parents swiftly sought their grave. They hurried through the portals pearly, and Jabez left the funeral early. He's a nice guy. Like whooping cough from child to child, he sped to spread the rumor wild. Sure as my name is Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Slunk like a weasel or a martin through nursery and kindergarten, whispering low to every tot, there isn't any. No, there's not. The children wept all Christmas Eve, and Jabez chortled up his sleeve. No infant dared hang up his stocking for fear of Jabez's ribald mocking. He sprawled on his untidy bed, fresh malice dancing in his head, when presently, with scalp a-tingling, Jabez heard a distant jingling. He heard the crunch of sleigh and hoof, crisply alighting on the roof. What good to rise and barred the door? A shower of soot was on the floor. What was beheld by Jabez Dawes? The fireplace full of Santa Claus. Then Jabez fell upon his knees with cries of "Don't!" and "Pretty please." He howled, "I don't know where you read it, but anyhow, I never said it." "Jabez," replied the angry saint, "it isn't I, it's you that ain't. Although there is a Santa Claus, there isn't any Jabez Dawes." Said Jabez with an impudent vim, "Oh yes there is, and I am him. Your magic don't scare me, it doesn't." And suddenly he found he wasn't. From grimy feet to grimy locks, Jabez became a jack-in-the-box. An ugly toy with springs unsprung, forever sticking out his tongue. The neighbors heard his mournful squeal. They searched for him, but not with zeal. No trace was found of Jabez Dawes, which led to thunderous applause. And people drank a loving cup and went and hung their stockings up. All you who sneer at Santa Claus, beware the fate of Jabez Dawes, the saucy boy who mocked the saint. Donner and Blitzen licked off his paint. Santa Claus is real, man. He's real. Just don't forget it, man. All right. Are you next?
I am next.
Oh, a favorite.
This, well, it's only a favorite because, and I probably told the story before, our youngest son hated All I Want for Christmas. I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. Hated it growing up. And Mom would get him a hippopotamus in his stocking every year. Just to, grind that a little bit. But
I approve.
when I recorded this, I dedicated it to him. So I am dedicating this to my son, Nicholas. He's probably not watching, but
How dare
this
you?
is for him.
How dare you not watch?
And your nephew, you can thank your nephew because he picked it out. Dear Santa, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. A hippopotamus is all I want. Very nice. He's playing the song in the background. Don't want a doll. No dinky tinker toy. I want a hippopotamus to play with and enjoy. Well, duh. Why else would you want a hippopotamus? I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. I don't think Santa Claus will mind. Do you? He won't have to use a dirty chimney flue. Just bring him through the front door. That's the easiest thing to do. I can see me now on Christmas morning creeping down the stairs. Oh, what joy and what surprise when I open up my eyes. Wait a minute. You should not walk down the stairs with your eyes closed. Just putting that out there. I open my eyes to see my hippo hero standing there. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. No crocodiles or rhinoceroses. I only like hippopotamuses. And hippopotamuses like me too. I think she's hoping that they like her too. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. A hippopotamus is all I want. Mom says a hippo would eat me up, but then teachers says a hippo is a vegetarian. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. The kind I saw last summer in the zoo. We got a car with room for two in our two-car garage. I'd feed him there. I'd wash him there and give him his massage. She's got a plan. I can see me now on Christmas morning creeping down the stairs. Oh, what joy and what surprise when I open up my eyes to see my hippo hero standing there. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. No kangaroos or duck-billed platypuses. I only like hippopotamuses. And hippopotamuses like me too. The end.
Nice. And thank you for the background music. We appreciate that. Well done. Nice cue. All right. We'll switch gears here a little bit, and I will read one that is, well, less whimsical and more Christmassy. A picture of Christmas, referred to as Christmas Eve in Our Village. And this is by Phyllis McGinley. She wrote this on December 15th in 1951, and this was printed in the New Yorker from way, way back when. Christmas Eve in Our Village. Main Street is gay. Each lamppost glimmers, crowned with a blue electric star. The gift tree by our fountain shimmers, superbly tall, if angular, donated by the Men's Bazaar. With garlands proper to the times, our doors are wreathed, our lintels strewn. From our two steeples sound the chimes, incessant through the afternoon. only a little out of tune. Breathless with boxes hard to handle, the grocery drivers come and go. Madame the chairman lights a candle to introduce our club's tableau. The hopeful children pray for snow. They cluster mittened in the park to talk of morning, half affrighted. And early comes the winter dark, and early are our windows lighted to wheedle homeward the benighted. The eggnog's lifted for libation, silent at last the postman's ring. But on the plaza near the station the carolers are gathering. O little town, the carolers sing. Just a pretty picture of Christmas in a tiny town. Anyway, do you have something funny for us?
Well, another kid's book. It's the last book I have before the very last one.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. It's the pigeon.
Don't let the pigeon drive the sleigh.
Don't do it.
The pigeon always wants to do
Don't
so
do it.
many different things.
Don't do it. Bad news.
I'm sure that he would do just fine driving.
No,
I'm
no.
sure he would.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a trap.
Hi, I'm Santa. Listen, I've got to leave for a little while to wrap some gifts, so can you watch things for me? Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the sleigh. Ho, ho. Whoa! Oh, hello. Happy holidays, season greetings, festive feathers, and peaceful plumage. Jingle bells, joy, and... Can I drive the sleigh? Come on, come on, come on. Where's your holiday spirit? It would be a Christmas miracle. Don't you want me to be a part of a Christmas miracle? So innocent, I'm sure. I haven't been naughty, and you are so nice. I think he's trying to sweet talk us. What do you think, Kyle? Should we let him?
No.
No, okay. Bah! Oh, he told you bah. Because you said no. Also, humbug. I can do Santa stuff. How hard can it be? I can wrap presents and deliver them. Can I eat cookies? I can. I can be jolly. Fine. Let me drive the sleigh! Wow, pretty insistent. Not happy. What is the big deal? Ooh, I think he's getting an attitude now. Look at it. It's just a sleigh. Hey, wait a second. Where's the clutch? Or the steery thingy? Or the honker? I do not get it. What even makes that thing go? And, phew, what is that smell?
Potential.
Ooh, it must be a pretty funky smell because he's not looking too happy. Ah! I think he got scared by the reindeer. I have better things to do than drive that sleigh. Egg delivery, anyone? He's moving on to Easter.
Excuse me. Well, we're getting towards the end, and as is our tradition, there's a story that I read and a story that Michelle will read to close us out. But this is one that I have loved for years. This is a story by our good friend Paul Harvey. Good day. And if you're my age or older, you know who that is. If you're younger, trust me, he's a nice dude, and he would tell cool stories and give us the rest of the story. But he told this one particular story that I always like to commence. The man to whom I'm going to introduce you was not a Scrooge. He was a kind, decent, mostly good man, generous to his family, upright in his dealings with other men. But he didn't just believe all that incarnation stuff which the churches proclaim at Christmas time. Just didn't make sense. And he was too honest to pretend otherwise. He just couldn't swallow the Jesus story about God coming to earth as a man. I'm truly sorry to distress you, he told his wife, but I'm not going with you to church this Christmas Eve. He said he'd feel like a hypocrite. He'd much rather just stay at home, but that he would wait up for them. And so he stayed, and they went to the midnight service. Shortly after the family drove away in the car, snow began to fall. He went to the window to watch the flurries getting heavier and heavier, and then went back to his fireside chair and began to read his newspaper. Minutes later, he was startled by a thudding sound, then another, and then another, sort of a thump or a thud. At first he thought someone must be throwing snowballs against his living room window. But when he went to the front door to investigate, he found a flock of birds huddled miserably in the snow. They'd been caught in the storm, and in a desperate search for shelter had tried to fly through his large landscape window. Well, he couldn't let the poor creatures just lie there and freeze, though he remembered the barn where his children stabled their pony. That would provide a warm shelter if he could direct the birds to it. Quickly he put on his coat and galoshes and tramped through the deepening snow to the barn. He opened the doors wide and turned on a light, but the birds did not come in. Well, he figured food would entice them in, so he hurried back to the house, fetched breadcrumbs, and sprinkled them on the snow, making a trail to the yellow-lighted, wide-open doorway of the stable. But to his dismay, the birds ignored the breadcrumbs and continued to flap around helplessly in the snow. He tried catching them. He tried shooing them into the barn by walking around them, waving his arms. Instead, they scattered in every direction, except into the warm, lighted barn. And then he realized they were afraid of him. To them, he reasoned, I'm a strange and terrifying creature. If only I could think of some way to let them know that they can trust me, that I'm not trying to hurt them, but to help them. But how? Because any move that he made tended to frighten them, to confuse them. They just would not follow. They would not be led or shooed because they feared him. If only I could be a bird, he thought to himself, and mingle with them and speak their language. Then I could tell them not to be afraid. I could show them the way to the safe, warm barn. But I would have to be one of them so they could see and hear and understand. And at that moment, the church bells began to ring. The sound reached his ears above the sounds of the wind, and he stood there listening to the bells pealing the glad tidings of Christmas. And he sank to his knees in the snow. Good day.
As we prepare to close, I have explained this before, but I will explain it again for those who do not know. I have many copies of this book, but this is the version I will read every single time. And the reason is because it is a book that my mother was read, this exact book, when she was little. And she gave it to me, and the tradition will continue because I will read it to my grandson. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The childrens were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to the objects below, when what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his courses they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wind hurricane fly, when they met with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard to the roof the pawing, the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in all fur from head to his toe, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler who was just opening his sack. His eyes, oh, how they twinkled! His dimples, oh, how merry! His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow, and we know now why it's so white. The stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like a down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
The end.
From the Cooper home to you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are glad to have an opportunity to do this again, and hopefully you had a good time. Feel free to share this if you want, and invite Grandma and the kids to come over, and they can have some Christmas stories as well. thanks for joining us. Do we have any comments or questions we need to respond to?
No.
Anything there? Okay, well, glad you're here with us tonight. Merry Christmas. Go to a Christmas Eve service tomorrow and enjoy some time with your friends and family. God bless you. We love you, and we will see you next year.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas.